A few months ago, I signed up to my first race in Lisbon, my first 10K. As a complete beginner and after a knee injury that stopped me from running during the past 12 years, this time I was committed to get back to running and complete my first race pain-free. It was still crazy for me to imagine that I was going to run for 1 hour straight when I had to stop every 10 minutes because of the sharp pain I had in my knee every time I ran. Which felt like being stabbed and would abruptly stop me in the middle of each training. I'm not a runner and I don't have a runner's body, but I had the willingness to progress, training my body and mind to prove that what happened to me in the past didn't have to determine what I was able to do in the here and now. During the past months, I was showing up to training every single day. When I didn't run, I did strength workouts, and thanks to my train well coach, Megan, I got my body back in shape for race day. I knew the day was going to be hot, and I was really nervous because all I knew up to that point was to train during cold days. Going to run early in the morning before the sun was too intense, but the race started at 11 AM, so I didn't really know what was going to happen. On top of that, my original plan when I signed up to this race was just to complete it. I was happy with just finishing it. But as the days got closer, the goal was to do a personal record. I was aiming to do a sub 60, something too ambitious, knowing that I never really got to run at a pace lower than 6 minutes per kilometer, and that the longest I ran before that day was 8 kilometers.
When a runner smells PB, we get so excited.
So the pressure was high. Taking Pepe's advice, who has run a few half marathons already, I chose the coolest outfit I had, even if I didn't feel that confident in my running shorts and tops. I had to make sure that when the heat of the afternoon hit us, I was prepared. For food and supplements, I kept it really simple. I took my daily magnesium supplement, had a coffee with honey and plant-based milk, and just ate 2 toasts of my gluten-free recipe. For fat, I had olive oil in one and a vegan chocolate hazelnut spread in the other. For shoes, I followed Pepe's advice and ended up running that day with the Nike Vaporflies he gifted me, which has a carbon plate that was supposed to help with speed and performance. I wasn't really sure if at my speed the shoe would really do anything, but I didn't have anything to lose, so I laced them up and was ready for my PB. Unfortunately, Aspen, my everyday running partner, was not allowed in the race. He still couldn't believe it. Poor guy was ready for his PB as well, but he had a more important task that day, to protect the property while we were away.
We're going for a PB! To make sure that I arrive to the finish line.
After an hour and a half drive, we arrived. The race will cross the iconic bridge Ponte 25 de Abril, connecting Almada to Lisbon. I was not only very nervous because of the race, but because we were going to be more than 30,000 people crossing this bridge that morning. We arrived 1 hour and a half before the actual start of the race. I kept an old t-shirt because it was still a bit cold, and while walking to the start line, brought a bottle of water with us. And unfortunately, I started making the first mistake of this race. Because I was really nervous, I kept drinking anxiously, besides Pepe's advice to drink only in small sips. And right after arriving, I had to pee, but I thought I still had it under control, and kept drinking and hydrating myself, until Pepe took the bottle from me. All of this drinking was a really bad decision because drinking so much made my race even harder, but I will tell you more about it later in the video. We started warming up. did some stretching to shake off the tension, tried for the first time an energy gel that Pepe brought for me that I didn't end up eating completely because I still had my carbs reserves untouched. The anticipation was killing me. All I was thinking of was to start the race. It was already getting too hot for me, and the wait was making me really anxious.
You ready?
Was I ready? Well, yes and no. The only thing that I knew was the amount of effort that I put up to that point. The first days running 1 minute and then having to stop for another minute in hopes that my knees one day will get better. The days that I was super tired for the building of our house and then showing up the next day to my strength workout. One thing was for sure, no matter what happened that day, I was really proud of everything that I was able to accomplish up to that point, and I will be forever grateful to Pepe for helping me with my running training and to my coach Megan for getting me back in shape and helping me with my knee injury after so many years. It was in 2023 when I felt really discouraged because I was lost. I didn't know what to do with my training. My upper back and shoulder were hurting all the time, and every time that I tried to run I had pain on my knees all the time, and that's when I knew about Trainwell, formerly known as Copilot, which is today's sponsor. I have been training with them for almost a year now. Trainwell is a one-on-one coaching experience committed to help you build your strength and your confidence with a step-by-step workout tailored to you by an expert coach. For me, it was a no-brainer because I know about a lot of things, but when it comes to tailor my own workouts, I'm not an expert. And then I believe we are all unique. I have certain parts of my bodies that are weaker than others or that I get injured more easily. So after signing up, I got matched with a coach. In my case, her name was Megan, and after a few texts, we scheduled a call and talked about pretty much everything.
So obviously I will be your #1 support here, making sure you stay accountable, creating your...
I was committed to get back to running, and after talking to her for an hour, we decided to start with a training plan that consisted in 5 days training, then eventually switch into 6 days a week training, 3 days running and 3 days strength workout. Now I'm doing strength workouts Mondays and Tuesday, then I run Wednesdays and Thursdays, I take Friday off, and then I do a workout on Saturday and I run on Sundays. The first week was what Megan called the calibration week. We adjusted some of the workouts because in some parts of my body I was weaker and in others I was stronger, and after working with Megan for that week I realized that I finally found a plan that worked for me, mainly for 2 reasons. The first reason is because the goal of Trainwell is to make fitness easy, so I don't have to think about what to do or not to do. They do that for me and I just have to show up with my body and my equipment. And the second reason is because all you need to succeed is consistency, and before working with them I didn't have consistency at all. When things got busy I put myself the last on the list, so my workout routine stopped being a routine and it was really hard to get back to it. But believe it or not, knowing that I had Megan, who has put her time and effort and was there supporting me, was just enough for me to show up each day and to not fail at it. And I can proudly say that for the first time in many years I have been consistently training for almost a year now. But let's continue with the race because you wouldn't believe all the things that went wrong and how I was able to overcome many of them.
Da Almada a Lisboa, vamos lá! 30.000 participantes a atravessar a ponte, meia maratona, Edifone, 10 km. É festa da corrida em Lisboa, 2 dias de pura festa.
And the race started. My original plan was just to jog and be able to finish the race pain-free. But as the days were getting closer and I was becoming more confident, we started to joke around about doing a sub-60, which meant that I had to run for 1 hour at a speed I didn't even train before. Lisbon is really hilly, but I felt confident, since where I train is quite hilly as well, but it hit me really quickly. Once we started crossing that bridge, the first half of the bridge was uphill, so the first kilometer and a half turned out to be harder than expected. If I wanted to finish this race under 60 minutes, I didn't have much margin, so the only way was to push through since the beginning. Once we reached the second kilometer, we started going down. I was feeling much better, but then I saw this long road that we had to turn around and go up again. All mixed with the heat and my already dry throat, I knew this was going to be a hard day. By the time we reached kilometer 5, the bottle of water I drank before the race started to kick in, and I felt like peeing. But because it was hot, I thought that eventually it was going to disappear. In the race, there was only one water stop, and I was doubting if to drink any water or not. Being completely honest, didn't make much effect with my thirsty sensation caused by the heat, and definitely didn't help my full bladder.
Let's go, Eugenia! Half! Come on!
Once we left the bridge exit, I realized that holding my pee for the following 4 kilometers was going to be really hard. In kilometer 8, Pepe found a bathroom, and as fast as I could go, I went to pee. Took me around 20 to 30 seconds, and at this point, I definitely didn't have that extra time. During the following 2 kilometers, all I could experience was pain, exhaustion, and disappointment. I was running in anaerobic, at my maximum heart rate for 45 minutes, and all I could think of was that energy gel I never ate at the beginning. In the last kilometer, I started getting stitches, and I didn't have the energy to face another pain or discomfort. All I could tell my body was not now, not today, and I kept pushing.
Si te queda algo ahora, Maru. Si tiene, vamos, vamos, Big Dipper, vamos. Venga, vamos. Esta es la meta, esa es. La de que pone Lisboa.
I was already dealing with an extreme exhaustion I could barely handle. But then, in the last 200 meters, this happened. I was completely destroyed, felt horrible, suffered a huge hypoglycemia, and could barely speak. But I ate a banana, listened to some of the music that was playing at the event, drank a bottle of water, and gained some perspective. Looking back now, the hypoglycemia I was going through the last kilometer could have been prevented by eating something around kilometer 6 or 7. Since we were hungry and cold, we got a pair of sweatshirts and went to have lunch before crossing the bridge again to get to our car and drive back home.
Ready.
Moving into the gear and training section, I want to make it super easy because you honestly don't need much. I actually started running with one pair of shoes and the only pair of workout clothes that I had, so I will start with shoes. I now have 3 pairs of shoes. I have been training with 2 that don't have plate on them, this New Balance and these Nike ones. The Nike is the Invisible 3 model and it is more cushion, a bit slower, but it is supposed to be good for recovery days. I then have these other ones, the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel 3, which are a bit faster, they feel lighter, and to my taste it is nicer than the Nike ones because the Nike feel super slow. I originally started running with my barefoot shoes, but as I was increasing the time and distance, my muscles got super tight, so at some point I just switched into normal cushion running shoes. And then for the race I used this Nike Vaporfly model, which was a gift from Pepe. These ones have a carbon plate and I really like them. Besides the effort I did running my longest distance and at a higher speed than I usually run, I didn't even feel it the next day. Not a single muscle was sore or tight, so in that sense for me it was amazing. I quite like them and it is the shoe that I now use the days that I do the longest run of the week. For clothing I have been using Linder products in body and recently I got a few Oisho shorts. I like the Linder products because they are made in Portugal and the quality is outstanding. I have clothes for winter and for summer because winter is super cold and summer is super hot. I also got from Oisho 2 pairs of shorts that are super light because I know that it's going to be super hot, so I didn't find any good quality ones that were that thin, so I ended up getting these 2. And then I also have this in-body suit that I don't use for running but I use for stretching and for yoga days. When it's cold in the morning and it's windy and rainy, you need a jacket. I didn't have any during the past winter and I really needed one, so after looking for something I ended up getting this Patagonia Houdini jacket, which is very light and if it gets warm packs up really small. And now that the days have been super sunny, Pepe recommended me to start using a cap, which has been a game changer. I got this one, which was a model that he got last year. I recently also got some sunglasses, which to be honest have been a game changer, especially if you live in an area that is super sunny. I wish I had this cap and sunglasses the day of the run because it would have helped a lot. For longer runs I thought it would be great to bring some water with electrolytes and I got this vest for it and so far has been working amazing for me. My training plan consisted in a running plan and a strength workout plan. The running plan was kept really simple. I started during the first 3 months working 1 hour, running 1 hour, and as I was feeling better and my knees were getting better, I increased the time that I was running and decreased the time that I was walking, and I did this for almost 3 months. Once that I was able to run pain-free for half an hour, I started my 10k running plan, which lasted for 3 months, and I'm going to leave it in the description below in case that some of you would like to try it out. For my strength workout, which was key in this achievement. I did it with Trenwell and Megan, which adjusted the training according to my needs. Right now my strength workouts are Mondays, Tuesdays and Saturdays. On Mondays and Tuesdays I do a full body workout routine that I just do with the only equipment that I have. Megan adjusted for me since I had these 2 kettlebells. And on Saturdays I do a Pilates routine that it's focused on shoulders, core, glutes and legs. For the days that I run, Megan tailored for me a stretch routine of around 10 to 15 minutes. After each run I just do that routine and has been working amazingly. After those 10-15 minutes I'm ready for the day. After all this time, when it comes to injuries, I realized that in most cases it all comes down to muscle strength and circulation. What was a deal breaker for me to recover from my chronic knee injury was the workout routine that Megan tailored to my specific needs and cold baths. I take them first thing in the morning and they have worked amazingly for my knees and to promote circulation. Every time that I do my workouts, I love that the app blends seamlessly while listening to music, so you don't have to choose between one or the other. And I also love the flexibility of the system because you can work out at home like I'm doing, or if you have a gym nearby and you would like to use more equipment, you can do that as well. Something that was a relief when I started with Trenwell was knowing that if I didn't like the coach that I was matched with, I could change it at any time directly from the app at no extra cost. In my case, I loved Megan. I'm super happy with her, so I didn't have the need to do so. But besides the app, which I think is amazing, what sets Trenwell apart is the connection that you make with your personal coach. Megan has been so supportive and has facilitated my growth during these past months because you have access to a chat 24/7 and you can schedule a call and send videos and texts with your coach at any time. Trenwell offers unlimited personalized workouts, nutritional guidance and constant contact to keep you in track even when you are 100% remote like I am. For the first time in years, I have been able to work out regularly and it is more affordable compared to any in-person training. It is truly flexible. Megan switches my workout routine so I don't get bored and keep improving. If you would like to check it out for yourself, click my link and you will get 14 days free trial with your own personal trainer.